You know, guys, I jumped into that other video and I didn't explain the things that you would need if you're new to this. You would need some kind of paper cutter or a ruler and either scissors or a cutting mat, an X-Acto knife, to achieve these cards. Um, I use a guillotine. There's also another type of cutter that the blade slides right through, and I think those are inexpensive. You can find them at any of your craft stores. I prefer the guillotine because I love the way it cuts it very smooth and straight. With the rotary ones or the one that slides back and forth, the blade's still out and it can sometimes catch. So I found that a little bit annoying. That's why I went with the guillotine. But if you're starting, those are great cutters. I use them for a very long time, and you can achieve the same thing. Most of these things have a scoreboard on them. I mean, here that you can use this as a scoreboard. I prefer not to because it has these little bumps, and your card can get that. So I use this scoreboard. Um, there's several different brands. You can get off brands on Amazon if you need to. But I use the bigger size for 12 by 12 just because it doesn't limit me. But they do sell them smaller, and you can achieve also the same cards with those. And that's basically it. To make the card bases, this is what you would need. You would need the cardstock, some way to cut your paper, and folding your paper. You don't need the scoreboard to fold your papers, but if you want a more professional look, then I would definitely use a scoreboard. Anyway, let's move on to the video now. Bye. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Sorry I've been gone for a little bit. Just had some family issues I had to deal with, but I'm back and I'm ready to create. I was thinking while I was gone, I love making cards, and I was going to jump right into making another one, but I figured there's people here that are new, or people that are searching for information on how to make card bases, and I figured let's start off with that. So it's like back to the basics. Let's get to making some card bases so the people who want to start making them have, you know, an easier way to start than most of us had, right? Because I know when I started, just finding information was almost impossible. Anyway, so I'm going to start off with the paper that I use to make my card bases. I used to use Nina cardstock, but it was pretty pricey, and I searched for an alternative, and I had found the Accent Opaque Digital by International Paper, and it was, I mean, I think I purchased this for 10 bucks, if that. And it's a pretty good cardstock. I like making my own. The ones that I used to purchase locally already made, they always seemed a little flimsy. And I like my card bases to be like firm. I don't want a weak card base. And so this is the one I started with. I tried the 120-pound once, but it was too thick, so I went down to the 100-pound, and it's worked great. The color is pretty bright. I think it's a little brighter than the Nina cardstock. But yeah, I love it. So this is the paper I use. I'm going to take a couple of these pieces out so we can do a couple of different card bases. We're going to start off with the popular one in the US, which is the A2. That's a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card. And we start off by just cutting it at 5 1/2. So let's see. This one is the most popular because you can get 2 cards out of every 8 1/2 by 11 cardstock. So each one of these will give you 2 cards. So that's why a lot of card makers here in the US tend to go with the A2 size. See, you have the makings for two of these guys. Next we're going to take my scoreboard. Sorry for the noise. And I wish I had a bigger desk, but I don't want to take stuff on and off, so we'll try to make it work. And we're going to score this one at 4 1/4. I'll bring it down a little bit. And then I'm taking my Teflon bone folder and score at 4 1/4. Now, I don't know about you guys, but a lot of times I score these things and they just don't. When I fold it, it's off. So I tend to just hold it in place, and just to make sure that everything folded perfectly, I go back. So here we go. This is your A2 size. Now, if you want to make the inside panels for these, you could either cut each panel 1/8 smaller, and you just have a thin white line showing, or you can do 1/4 and then you have a bigger inside panel for your card. So this is the A2. Okay, let's put that to the side. Again, with this size, you get 2 card bases from each, and I'm not scoring this one, I'm just trying to show you guys. And there's also a good point with this. Now, a lot of people say, why do you need a scoreboard? When you score it without it, you get more cracking as opposed to with it. It's a crisp fold. So that's why I always use a scoreboard. Okay, let's move on. Now, this size I never really used before, but it's becoming a little popular. Well, actually, it's been popular with some people. It all depends on what you like. And it's the 4 1/2 by 6. You know what? Let's stop. Let's go with my favorites first. Let's go with the A7. And the A7 is a 5 by 7 card. I used to do the A2 a lot, but then I started finding out that I kind of like to add more to the front of my cards, and this was limited in space, so I started leaning towards either the 5 by 7 or the slimline cards. And so let's do that one. It's 5 by 7, so you're gonna cut this card stock at 10 by 7. Then you kind of come back with your scoreboard, and of course you're gonna score it at 5 inches. If you pass it a couple of times, when you fold it, you also see less cracking on the other side. And most of the time I like doing this off of the scoreboard, because you get a line when you score it here. But for the sake of time and not moving these things so much, this is your 5 by 7, and this is your 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So this is A2, and that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And this is your A7, and that's 5 by 7. Again, if you want to do the panels for this, you can either do it, cut it 1/8 smaller, and then layer it on top, or You can do it, cut it a quarter smaller, and then you can get that done there. Okay, so let's move on to the slimline. I prefer the 3.5 by 8.5 slimlines. So we're gonna cut our paper. Let's cut it 7. It's already 8.5, so you don't have to cut it there. You just have to cut it at 7 inches. And then you're gonna score it at 3.5. Let's hold it. Let's score. And these are my slimline size. It's what I prefer. Again, to do the little panels for the inside, you can cut it just 1/8 or 1/4 inch smaller. Let's do the square cards. A lot of people do their square cards at either 6 inch or 5.5. I like to do mine at 5 inch. So we're gonna cut this at 10. Again, I just like to leave myself a little more room to add things to the cards. I really like to add stuff. Maybe sometimes too much stuff. So let's get back. And we're gonna score this one at 5 inches. I know in the UK they like making bigger cards, and I was starting to get into it, but with the price of postage and stuff, I'm starting to go right back to the originals. This one would always cost you more. For some reason, square cards would always cost you a little more, but if you do it 5 inches, you can actually put this in a 5 by 7 envelope, and it'll cost you the same as sending this one, which is normal postage if you don't make too many layers on it. I always exaggerate my layers, so it's always costing me a little bit more. Okay, so we have the A2, the A7, your square, and your slimline. Now we're just going to do the A6 size, and then we're going to call it a day for this video. And that one, let's see, we're going to cut it, we're going to cut it 9 inches. By 6 1/4. Right about there. Boy, I can't get it right today. And then we're going to score that one at 4.5. I don't make this one often, so Took me a second to think about where to cut it. Let's line it up. And there we go. So this is the A6, and that's 4 1/2 by 6 1/4. So we have our A2, which is the smallest one. This is the A6, which is a little bit bigger. We have our 5 by 7. We have our square, that's a 5 by 5. And our slimline, and our slimline is 3 1/2 by 8 1/2. And those are the ones that I basically use. Once you know the style of card you like, the size that you like, then we can get into different things that you can do with these guys. Like you can fold this in half and cut another piece and make it a Z-fold card. Or you can cut into them and do all kinds of things. We'll get into that in another video, but for today I just wanted to cover the card sizes that you can use and the cardstock that I use, which is that Accent Opaque Digital from International Paper, and I bought that on Amazon. Very inexpensive, and you get a good quality cardstock. It's not flimsy, so you have a good base to start with. I hope this helps anyone who's new to card making. We need to motivate each other and, you know, teach each other different techniques to make it easier and more fun to create. Next time we'll be making the panels for these guys, okay? So I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.